Good morning, everyone. The birds are chirping outside like crazy, so if you hear that background noise, that's what it is. My windows are open. It's warm in central Texas today. Let us talk about the touch and hold idea for the GlidePoint as a mouse. So as I spoke about in a previous video, the whole concept of this is that instead of constantly having to swipe like at a traditional touchpad, you would touch it and hold it, and as long as you hold it in a cardinal direction, it would keep moving the mouse until you release. Okay, so I revisited some older Mark II devices, and the difference, the Mark II devices were a little bit bigger and they used a hard plastic top versus the smooth flat top, and most folks preferred the flat one, so I went back to that for the Mark III, but I had a whole bunch of these Mark IIs made as mice, but I really wasn't happy with them at the time, and so all this has caused me to revisit it. So the way that this works, this is a GlidePoint touch device. It's connected via USB to the computer, and it uses these pigtail connectors to connect to standard 3.5 millimeter jacks and plugs for external switches. I couldn't put the jacks in here because there's just not enough space. So that's why they're external. So right now I have a primary and a secondary button set up, external button for primary and secondary click, and then the touch will do the pointer. So what I did, this has all been code. So let me switch over to a preview mode real quick. Let's see if I can do this properly. There we go. So the way that it works is as you touch, you can see there's the cursor, and I'm not moving my finger, but I'm moving it in that cardinal direction. In this case, west, east, north, south. And as I move it and I let up, and it stops. You can see this is a debug window that I have up currently, where if you look at it, TT means I'm touching, TX is the X coordinate, Y is the Y, and Z is the Z. That's how far your finger is. So these are raw values from the GlidePoint. These get mapped to values that I then use for mouse movement so that I can know, are we moving negative X, positive Y, negative Y. And I didn't end up really needing it as much, but I have it in here anyway. I also keep track of the direction. So I keep track of 8 cardinal directions: north, south, east, west, and then northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest. So if I need to know what direction I'm going in, I can. It's also handy because I've built in a dead zone into here so that if you're around the very center, it will just treat it as centered, and in centered in the mouse case means no movement. So the whole concept of touch and hold for a mouse with the GlidePoint is working out pretty well. And I've got the primary and the secondary buttons working also. What I don't have, what I need, and this is a code issue that I have to write, is the holding down of the clicks or sticky clicks, things like that. So right now the code handles, a regular single click or a right click fine, but what it needs to also be able to handle is it needs to handle click and hold. So if you're selecting a paragraph of text, for example, or a section of code, you need to hold the button down, drag, and then release the button, and then that's selected. You do a right click, copy, or whatnot. So that's code. One other thing I will mention here, though, is that this is, let me switch to full screen again. This is all software. Okay, so this is the same physical hardware device that I use for my joysticks, for the Xbox adaptive controller, that I use for my regular mouse movement where it's not this touch and hold. It's all software. So what does that tell me? That if you had software, and I don't know if this exists, but it's worth researching, there should be a way of having software on your PC that would take a normal quote unquote normal touchpad and turn it into a touch and hold touchpad. It's software, so there's no reason why that could not be implemented on a laptop, you know, or a regular trackpad. It doesn't have to go through my GlidePoint. Now, the reason my GlidePoint's working is because of the code I put on there. So that's probably worth researching if you're looking into this, is to see, does that sort of thing exist? If it doesn't, I'm not exactly sure why, but who knows? Stranger things have happened. So that's what's happened with this. This is looking in good shape here. You can see my cursor moving around here. And so far it's been reliable. I got to get the clicking working. And since this is a input device like most of my stuff, I really have to use it a lot to make sure that it doesn't act up, lock up, or whatnot. And we're all very sensitive to our input devices and want to make sure that they work consistently and without any problems. So there we go. Thanks for watching.